let's get this going because we live in a twilight world.
Shiny vampires.
Nah, man. Like, here's the thing. Everyone says like this movie was complicated. I fully understood this movie, but I'm also an habitual liar. So.
All right. On that note, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nightcap. What's up, guys?
Welcome back, guys. And
Welcome.
hey, look what the cat dragged in. The prodigal son returns.
There he is.
Finally opened up my emails.
The crowd goes wild. So we got our hands full this evening, guys. Gentlemen, Tenet. Christopher Nolan's Tenet. I think the only thing that's going to help us understand this movie a little more is a little bit of alcohol. So what are you guys drinking tonight?
I think a lot more alcohol.
Maybe a lot more.
I'm back on the Truly, the iced tea Trulies. These are tasty, man. These are tasty.
Are those good? Does it taste
very good?
Does it taste like tea?
Yeah, it's very good. It tastes like brisk iced tea, baby.
Crazy.
What about you, Rich? What are you drinking?
I don't steer too far away. I'm drinking Jameson whiskey.
Can't go wrong with Jim.
A little scotch myself, a little Dewars. So, but yeah, I think we're gonna need all the mental powers we got. Gonna rub all our brain cells together to understand this movie here. But before we hop into the synopsis, if it's your first time watching the show, guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It does a solid. And I'm also gonna be putting up the grading system right now. So check that out. A big part of what we do here at the Nightcap is we like to break down movies and give them a grade and really kind of put a stamp on how we feel about the movies. So also feel free to leave your guys' comments down below. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. And maybe someone can explain this movie to me as well, because I've watched it twice now, and I think I understand it. Maybe not.
If there's any physics professors out there, please do.
Like 5 minutes into the movie, I was like, I was promised there'd be no math. What's going on? Whatever. All right, well, let me break into the synopsis, and then we'll hop into our review. All right, Tenet is a 2020 science fiction action thriller film written and directed by Christopher Nolan and produced with Emma Thomas. It's a co-United Kingdom and United States production. It stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, Michael Caine, and Kenneth Branagh. The film follows a secret agent who learns to manipulate the flow of time to prevent an attack from the future that threatens to annihilate the present world. The movie had a budget of $200 million with a box office of $363 million. I actually did see this in the theater during the pandemic. I risked my life to see this new movie from Christopher Nolan. And, he is, one of the most popular and, well-regarded directors right now in our time. And all his movies look great. And he loves to tackle big ideas. A couple movies ago, he was going, Interstellar. And now he's like, I'm going to figure out time. And how time works. You know what I mean? Right? And what happens if we reverse it and invert it, right? And so that's really kind of the basis of this movie. I don't think I'm giving anything away. And if you are new to our channel, we're always spoiler heavy. So I'm just warning you guys right now. But
can you spoil a movie that no one understands?
I don't know. If I did, would you even know? Did it
already happen?
Time aversion. That really is the plot of this movie. I think that's what makes the movie so intriguing, but it's also kind of its weakness because you're left with all these, at least for me, I was left with all these crazy questions and, not a lot of answers, at least not right away. What about you guys? What do you guys think about the overall story of Tenet?
It's ambitious. I'll give them that. It's very ambitious. Like the synopsis said, it was I'm going to guess CIA agent who gets recruited into the Tenet agency. I'm going to say Tenet agency because there seems to be a lot of them. And just to try to avert the end of the world and all of history from attacks from the future, attacking the past and the present. I'm already lost, guys.
Don't forget about the global warming.
And then people are talking backwards, and then there's turnstiles, and there's inverted weapons. Geez, guys, it's a lot to take in. I still give it a 7 just because it's very, like I said, it's very ambitious. I'll give them that. The execution of it, the storytelling of it. We'll get into it, but still a solid 7 for me.
Yeah. What about you, Rich?
I give it a 5. It's just this, and I'm going to throw this out there. This is my 3rd time watching the movie. I don't dislike the movie. It's just, man, for a plot, I'm just as confused on the plot. Maybe because there's so many plot holes in it that it's hard for me to give it a higher score on the plot because it's so confusing.
Yeah,
he's
I put it here in my notes, like the major intrigue
from the future.
Yeah. The major point of intrigue for me is also the major point of confusion. Like it's one and the same, right? It's like the main part I'm interested in is the idea of this time inversion, but the whole time I'm wrestling with it rather than really caring, or you know what I mean, about like the actual plot itself. You know, it all feels just like the plot itself just all feels like for a reason to explore this idea. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does. Because like the whole time when I was watching the movie, even the second or third time, my mind's trying to put together the little connections from forwards to backwards. And at some point, it's like dot dot dot. Where'd the path go? What happened here?
We got to cue
it went to a turnstile, bud. All right.
Yeah, we got to cue that meme of Zach Galifianakis with all the numbers like flying by his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
Oh,
what did you say you gave it in terms of plot, Rich?
Give it a 5. I mean, right in the middle. I don't know where to go with it. Forwards, backwards, I'll just stick right in the middle.
You know, that's fair. That's totally fair. I give it a 7. I give it a 7. I'm like Al right there. I mean, I admire the ambition. I mean, you guys know me. I like these big kind of themes, you know. And he goes for it. He goes to tackle for it. Now, does he actually achieve it? I guess we're going to get into that in a second, and people could probably already guess what, you know, how at least I'm feeling about it. But let's get into production, and this is really for me where Nolan always shines. Is his movies just look great, and he's great at the live action stunts. You know, he doesn't use a lot of CG. He doesn't lean on that. And it just, you know, the world always feels very real, right? Even when he did his superhero trilogy, you know, it feels like, you know, something that's tangible. It doesn't feel like it's happening in a galaxy far, far away. So in terms of production, I gave it a 17. I also like the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack's pretty good. Even the song, the single from Travis Scott, I actually like it. I think it's actually a pretty good song. But if there's one thing I can knock it is, you know, and a lot of people have touched on this, is the audio, the mixing in terms of the people's dialogue. A lot of times you're struggling to hear in a movie like this where everything is kind of fast paced and complicated. You're trying to grasp on every word for clarification, and you struggle at times. And then also too, during these temporal pincer movements, with all the camera angles and the quick movements, it was hard for me to track what's going on, to be perfectly honest.
That was the whole movie, but let's go on from that.
The whole movie was a pincer move.
Yeah, you definitely hit it on the head in regards to like the sound. I definitely turned up the volume. I put on the captions and the subtitles just to make sure I'm getting everything, and I was still confused. But you can't take away from the fact that this is a very good looking movie. All the locations, the locales, the cinematography. It's a Christopher Nolan movie, so those are gonna hit.
Yeah.
The stunts, like you were saying, hit. The soundtrack, the score was great, and I gave the production an 18 just because like it's a slick looking movie.
Yeah, I agree.
It's I mean, you guys touched on a lot of points. And I can't agree more. It's clean. It just looks nice, and that's one of the things why I could actually watch this 3 times. Is it's not only because it confuses the hell out of me and I want to understand, but it's visually kind of cool to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's just like those reverse scenes, and I could do without the talking backwards thing. That one kind of got to me too.
Yeah, I agree on that.
But the inverted fight scenes were very unique.
Yes, unique. That's a good way to touch on it. And like you said, the way he filmed it too, to me, he filmed this movie like a lot of grays, a lot of like monotone type of colors throughout the movie. And it kind of set the tone of confusion, I guess. I don't know. It kind of stuck to the middle ground of it wasn't too over the top, but then it wasn't too bland. It was like a perfect, I don't know. He did good on production, I guess.
He uses his typical palette, which is nice. I mean, he's got his own visual style. If you watch Dunkirk or even the Batman series, you can see that same. It's kind of like you said, kind of muted. You know, some like deep black, so some good contrast, and it looks great. He used the same cinematographer. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. It's a Dutch Swedish name, but he's been working with this guy for a long time. And then in terms of just like cinematography too, just visual cues. I like the opening scene semi-opening scene where they're the guys by the train, and you have one train going forward and one train going backwards, right? And it's just kind of giving you a clue of like, what this movie is, the things going backwards and forwards at the same time.
Craziness you're about to get into.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a great looking movie. Nolan's, very obviously very skilled at his craft. But let's get into the acting in this one. And this is my first, I think, movie seeing John David Washington, and I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I think he's a good actor.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys there. I felt like I gave the acting overall 21 out of 30. It's not a bad score, but he was kind of wooden to me. Like I'm gonna like you guys might disagree with me there, but DeBecky, I thought handled herself very well with this other cast, and I also like Pattinson as Neil, and he actually had a really good line in the kind of like in the middle of the movie. I don't know if Nolan put this just as a rib, as poking fun about it. He was like, "Does your head hurt yet?"
Yeah.
When he was trying to explain everything, I'm like, "Yeah, it does, Nolan. It does." So yeah, the acting was great. Was to me was okay, but to me Washington wasn't up to par with his pops, just as Juviet. So
well, that's tough. Those are big shoes. Rich, what did you give in terms of a score for the acting?
I give it a 25. I thought all the acting jobs were solid, and I disagree with that. I like the main character. I'd actually the protagonist of No Name. I would like to see him in other movies. I thought he carried himself pretty well. He didn't come across as wooden. He came across just as confused as I was, throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, definitely at times. Yeah, I agree. I mean, for acting, I give it a 24. I thought the actors did a great. Honestly, I thought all the actors did a great job. Even from Washington's performance, again, he's off. He's trying to understand this world as much as we are. But with most of the characters, you don't get a lot of like backstory. You know what I mean? And even like their motivations and stuff, it's kind of simplified. There's not a lot there, so they didn't really have like a lot to work with other than the situations they're kind of thrown into. But I thought they all did a good job. I think Al, like you pointed out, like Pattinson's character, I thought I thought he was the most intriguing of the whole lot.
Yeah.
Right. And there's been some kind of theories on the internet. I'm not hoping I'm not ruining for anybody that he might be the son, right, grown up and kind of come back in time here. And he plays kind of coy on that, that idea too, like as the story goes on. And one thing I'll say, also touching on Pattinson, him playing this kind of secret agent type guy, could he be a future Bond? I don't know. After seeing this, I might be able to see that.
I'm going to take his role as Batman.
Yeah, he has his plate full right now to be the next Batman. So we'll see how he does first on that. Then we could go from there.
But I'll tell you, I wasn't sold on Patterson being Batman, but after watching this, I'm a little more sold on him being Batman now. To be honest,
he's a legit actor. Yeah, he's a legit actor.
Yeah,
I just can't get over the shiny vampire.
He just also happens to be a shiny vampire
in a Twilight world.
He's an incredible actor, but hey, we digress. Also, let's I don't forget the actor's name, Sator. I thought he did a pretty good job as the villain too. Yeah. He was a little typical, but I thought he was effective. I thought he was, the one scene where they're in the room with all the guns and stuff. When he's having the fight with Kat's character, he comes off as pretty menacing, and he comes off like a gangster too, when it needs to be. But he feels like someone who's worthy adversary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he comes across good as a egocentric, obsessed bad guy. He plays that really well. And he, honestly, I don't think without his acting, the movie may have come across, at least for me, weaker. Because like you said, he makes a good adversary, and he's kind of not necessarily slimy, but you could tell he's just dangerous and kind of slightly off his rocker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He portrays that really well.
Yeah, a good antagonist to the protagonist. So there
you go. All right. Well, let's get into directing here. Al, why don't you go and kick it off?
Oh man, directing. Can I just first say Nolan is one of my favorites right now. I think he's still a visionary.
I think I know what's coming next. Here we go.
But man, I wanted to see his pitch to like the studio. He's like, hey, if you thought Inception was complicated, have I got something for you? All right. And I don't know, man. We were talking about this before. It's a bad movie done by a really good filmmaker. He took a giant swing, and it was a miss, unfortunately. Yeah. But it was still ambitious. It still looked great. And we were touching on this on production, how great it looked. You're thinking to yourself, is it me? Like, am I just not understanding this great movie? And like, why am I not caring? But no, it's not just you. It's not just me. It really was. Even though with like the big scope of like the ideas, you don't care enough to try to put the pieces together. You're just like, man, just end this. Like, just end this movie and see how it ends. Yeah, to me, that's how it was. That's why I gave it a 22 out of 30. I still like Nolan, though. He's still my favorite.
All right, Rich, what'd you give it? Take it easy on Nolan. We're beating him up right now.
I gave him I gave him a 20. I can't give him a 25, and for a couple reasons. Okay, maybe you guys got this. The algorithm and putting it into like metal things that screw together. How does she go so far back in the past? And if she could go so far back in the past, this is one of the loopholes that boggled my fucking mind. why does she just not destroy those metal pieces that she had, or maybe gave herself a message like, "Hey, don't do this." You know what I mean?
Go in the past and just throw it in the volcano. I don't know.
Yeah, something
Exactly.
like it's and that's one big plot hole. Where's the other one? Oh, here's the other thing too. So the main character, the protagonist, he obviously creates Tenet, and whenever this is in the future that they're going back for, I think they hinted at 200 years. Man, they established a whole entire army, so this is pretty big, the organization. You know what I mean? And if they could already establish a whole army that could be sent back in time, doesn't that mean they failed and the algorithm's out there
Look,
and they could just reproduce it at any time?
Look, grandfather paradox. I'm just throwing words out there. Just like this movie.
Okay. Right. Well, I think, Al, you kind of hit it on the head, honestly. As much as we joke around about not understanding the film, I actually think we do understand the film. The problem is there's some parts of this film that don't have answers. We don't know. And I don't think even Nolan gave us the answers. I don't think they're there.
I don't think
we kind of joke around saying, I'm not, smart enough or whatever to understand the complexities of this. But I think Rich is right. Like, does any of this really make sense? Or is this all just a device to explore this concept? And I think that's really the major failing of this movie is Nolan, he got a little indulgent on this one. He wanted to talk about this idea and he created a story around it, but it wasn't necessarily a good story. Like you said, he's a good director, but the story itself wasn't necessarily, intriguing as much as the concept was, and the concept has holes. So you just kind of left kind of unsettled. You know what I mean? Overall for directing, I gave it a 20.
Almost like halfway through, you almost thought that this was a satire of a Nolan movie because he was just going so over the top with it. And I was just like, okay, Nolan, go on with your bad self.
Yeah. Okay. I got another question. I just thought of this too. Another thing that confused the hell out of me with this production thing: the turnstiles. So did the people from the future come and build them in the past so they could use them in the future? And there's like 3 of them. One's in an airport, like in a modern day airport. So did they build it? Like, did they give someone designs to build turnstiles? But wouldn't they have to have a turnstile already built?
Here's a question for you too. If they're trying to save the world from global warming, then who's the real bad guys here? Huh, Tenet? Answer me. Riddle me this. Right? They're trying to save the world from the carbon footprint over here, and you guys are trying to set things back. I don't know.
Does anybody know, guys? I don't know how many more I don't knows I have in me in here.
I have at least a few more. So hold on, we're not done. Let's save it. But let's hop into X Factor. Let's go in reverse order this time. Let's invert the order this time, if you will.
Ooh.
Rich,
are we gonna start talking backwards or what?
If you could do that, that'd be impressive. I gave it an 8. I mean, the movie tackled a lot of big concepts. This is why I gave it an 8. This movie made me go back 3 times now to try to understand it. Usually I give up on movies where I'm like, well, I'm either stupid and I don't understand that, or the idea is just stupid. So I gave it an 8 because, man, 3 times I went back watching it. I may watch it again and see if I can find anything.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. What about you, Al? What'd you give it?
I gave it a 3 because because here's the thing. I feel like you shouldn't need a PhD in physics to enjoy a movie. So there you go, Nolan.
That's a good point.
All right, I got you. I got you on that. I gave it a 6, and I'm kind of like with Rich on that one. As much as the movie kind of bugs me, and I got these questions, I've seen it twice now, and it's still intriguing, and that's still interesting. And watching the temporal pincers, which I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. What you're learning from going reverse mode, whatever. It's so interesting. So if it was on, I'd actually watch it again. And Nolan he does make interesting movies. And again, it's about the concept of, not time travel, but time inversion. And the idea is interesting enough to I actually would revisit it. Even for its faults, I'm still semi-intrigued, like you said, Rich. So
don't they tackle time travel too? Because the creator travels way back in time to pre-Soviet Russia and buries the goal.
Here's the thing: if she didn't want anybody to know how, don't make the algorithm. All right, just go back in time and then just disappear.
Yeah, right. Or like I said, just chuck it in the volcano. Right, Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah,
right? Just get rid of it. It's so weird.
With all this, I would still watch a sequel just to see if there's going to be more answers.
Yeah,
So
and I think that's part of the intrigue of this movie. Like I said, the its strength is its weakness. This movie is inverted. Like it's you know what I mean. Like it's interesting, but it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I don't know. It's like it leaves you kind of unsettled. And I've even watched videos trying to explain it. You know what I mean, and stuff, and movies breaking it down. So I can't say that there's no X factor for me because I've already like revisited it. Like I said, I've watched it twice. I've already seen videos on it, kind of explaining the concepts on it. So it's definitely intriguing. But at the end, there's just a lot of holes. So I don't know. I mean, here's a question for you guys. Is this Nolan's worst movie? That's a legit question.
whew, it's not fair to say worse. It's like it's a miss. It's still it's still a great looking movie, well made, but it's just it doesn't hit like Inception did. Even Memento is still probably my favorite like Nolan movie. That's the one I first got introduced to Nolan. I was like, this movie is amazing.
Right.
So
what about you, Rich? What do you think?
I have no idea.
Maybe that's a good note to end on.
I still can't wrap my head around, is this a bad movie? Like, or is it good? He's got me all inverted. I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go inside the turnstile and rewatch this movie with a gas mask on. So
will it make more sense if we watch it rewinding it the whole time?
I don't know. When they were talking backwards,
you gotta play it backwards like an old Black Sabbath record.
Exactly.
And then it tells you like, hey, the devil's your friend. He loves you, and you're like, oh my god.
And then
there's a hidden Chris Nolan or a Nolan thing in there. It goes, I can't believe I got you guys to pay for this.
No, just play it backwards. Maybe you'll understand it better.
All right, guys? Let's wrap it up here. Let's give total scores. What'd you guys give it in terms of your total score?
I give it a 71 out of 100. I still got to give Nolan his respect. It's an ambitious movie, still a good looking movie, but it just didn't hit for me.
Gotcha. Rich?
I gave it slightly higher than Al. I gave it a 75.
Okay, right on. I'm in between you guys. Give it a 74. Okay. So we're all kind of right there in that same little cluster there. So I guess we're not too far away. And even looking at the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores, we're right there too. I think they're in the 70s as well. So
they're at too.
We're all kind of scratching our heads, knowing, kind of intrigued, but yet confused. I think that's
almost like I don't really want to admit that I'm too stupid to understand this movie, so I'm gonna give it a 7.
Thank you. I was just about to say that. They're like, yeah, this movie was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. You don't understand it?
To everybody watching, you definitely got to leave your feedback on this one. I want to know what you guys think. Were we wrong? Do you have any answers to our questions? I know we dropped a few during the video here, but let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you guys like this movie? Is this Nolan's, serious question. Is this Nolan's worst movie? That's something to ponder as well. And that's nothing taken away from the guy. He still makes great movies. But looking back at he's got pretty impressive filmography. So maybe, where does this fit in that? So that's some interesting questions to have as well. But from us guys, you guys have anything else you guys want to touch on before we call it a wrap?
No, man, because I'm gonna have to go watch this movie again. So
only time will tell if it's a good movie or not.
I see what you did
there. This is why you haven't been on.
I know. I got timed out.
All right, guys. Well,
have a great night, guys. See you next time.
Take it easy. Peace.